the Adelaire games. There's like 50 Adelaire games. Death, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's French. Atelier? Atelier. I want to play the Atelier games. I want to play the Antlion games. I want to play the Yeehaw games. I want to play the I'll tell you later. I'll tell you what games. That's the American version. The French version is Atelier. The American version is I tell you what. Yo, how's it going? Welcome back.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I am very sure that we are back with some more Final Fantathon action. Welcome back to Final Fantasy V, and we're getting into it. We're in the final, quote-unquote, final dungeon. Feels like the final dungeon. And, man, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it this week, and I've pretty much done nothing but sing the praises of this game since we started.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, but, you know, I was thinking about this final dungeon, and it really just blows me away. Like, when I set out to play, when I set out to do Final Fantathon, I figured that 6 might be the first one that was really different because everyone loves it so much. I kind of figured that 1 through 5 would be kind of similar in, like, its linearity, where the story would mostly just be, go get this crystal, this happens, go get that crystal, this happens, go get this crystal, that happens, final boss kind of thing. And as we've gone through the games, it's gotten a bit more like, hey, on your way to this crystal, there's this little side quest you can do. Or, before you fight the final boss, there's this little side quest you can do to get Bahamut or something. And they've slowly added in, like, small things you can do. But I never expected Final Fantasy V, of all games, the one that seems like no one ever talks about, to have this incredible, like, open world finale where we could have gone and done this dungeon like 10 hours ago. Like, straight up 10, 11, 12 episodes ago, I found this dungeon, and we could have completed it. We didn't have to do anything else. But it gives you this option of, like, here are the lithographs. All the lithographs unlock these really strong things, and you can use them for the final dungeon. And I just really like that gameplay style. Like, I really like that. That's one of my favorite kind of types of end game that I've seen in a video game. Instead of having, like, you know, you defeat this crystal, and then you're level 15, and then you go to the level 15 dungeon, and then you beat that dungeon, and now you go to the level 20 dungeon, and you just keep doing that, and then after you beat the level 35 dungeon, the final dungeon is level 40, and you go there and you do that. Like, instead of that, this really opens it up to, like, okay, you're level 30, the final dungeon is level 50, but then there's these 4 other dungeons where you can collect the stuff you need to defeat the level 50 dungeon. And I just really like that. That feels so much more like an adventure, and it feels so much more like a more modernized RPG. Instead of just being level 15, level 20, level 25, level 30. And, you know, to give this game the respect it deserves, that's the way Final Fantasy VII is. For how much we talk about how great, like, an open Final Fantasy VII is, I've always been one to say Final Fantasy VII is very linear. I like it that way. But just to get it out there, 7 is very linear. You literally are the level you need to be for every dungeon until the end. There is no having to step out of your bounds to beat the game or even feel like you're on the right level. You're almost always the correct level when you're entering the final dungeon, no matter how much side questing you've done. So, it's really cool to see how unique the end of this game is. So yeah, I was just thinking about that throughout the week. And now, we are trying to get through this dungeon, which is, pretty, like, yeah, it's Sephiroth. I mean, it's feeling a lot like, Final Fantasy III's dungeon. It's super long, there's, like, no checkpoints, there's a lot of Kregging going on with, like, Omega just standing here, wanting to kill us. So yeah, it's been a journey so far. I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't know if we're going to finish the game today. I feel like we're probably going to at least finish the story today, I hope. But no promises on whether or not we're actually finishing the game today. Because there is a lot of post-game I want to do. And we'll decide how we want to do the post-game when we get there. Monkey, thank you for the 16 months. Appreciate it. And thank you for the bits, Cayman. There was 2 things I wanted to talk about while we're dying to Omega. First thing is, this Monday, we're going to be doing a half stream instead of a full stream on Monday because it is adoption day. We're going to officially adopt our second child. It's not like a shock or anything. Like, he's been in our family for a while now. But Monday's the official adoption day, so that's really hype. We get to go to the court and do the paperwork and officially adopt him, so that's awesome. We've been waiting for a while for our date because, as you can imagine, the courts are like super duper backed up. They told us a week before. They told us at the beginning of this week. They were like, by the way, show up to court on Monday. And I'm like, what? And I remember when we adopted our first son, we knew like a month ahead of time. So, kind of crazy how backed up everything is, but it's all good. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the PSN store. So, I think it was last week, if not it was the week before that. We were talking about the PSN store and how it's closing. They're closing the PS3 and the PS Vita store. And it was a big deal because, first of all, they didn't take any steps to help with video game preservation. Not only did they say it like really soon before the stores closed. Usually when stuff like this happens, they give everyone a lot of time, like a couple months ahead of time, to be like, hey, you know, this is happening. But they told us like a month before. Or I think it was 2 months before. And they didn't take any steps, or at least didn't tell us of any steps they took to preserve the games that are on the store. Which is a big deal if you're into video game preservation. I understand a lot of people aren't. But I'm actually pretty, like, heavy on video game preservation. This better not be Omega. I'm like 9 feet away from him. Okay. I think that video game preservation is pretty important. I even did a report on movie preservation in college. I did like a huge research paper, like 12-page long research paper on movie preservation, mostly talking about The Wizard of Oz and how they preserved Wizard of Oz over the last couple decades. So I've always thought the preservation is really important. I know a lot of people don't care, and also there's kind of like levels to how much people care about preservation. Some people just want stuff in the history book somewhere. Like, some people just want to know that certain things existed, but they don't really need a physical copy of it. Other people say take at least one copy of every video game ever made and put it in a vault in the Library of Congress. So there's different levels of like how much people care about preservation. But the point was, they took no initiative at all to preserve any of the stuff. They didn't, I mean, they might have, but we didn't know about it. They didn't back it up into their own servers. So what that means is that once the PS3 store closes, those games are only on physical PS3s at people's houses. And once those PS3s die, those games are gone forever. And it's, you know, like I said, some people don't care about it as much. I think people from our generation care more because we grew up when physical media was important. Nowadays, most kids are growing up with games that they understand won't last forever. Like, kids are growing up nowadays with a lot of multiplayer shooters like Fortnite and Apex Legends, or a lot of MMORPGs, or a lot of MOBAs like League of Legends and World of Warcraft and stuff. And those games are understood to not be preservable. Like, we know at some point when people stop playing them, they're gone. Because you have to play them with other people, and it's all online, and they're constantly updated, and there's a meta shift and all that. So, like, those games are unplayable. Even at this point, retro League of Legends and retro World of Warcraft and retro RuneScape, well, RuneScape you can, but, you know, all that stuff, the way it was back then when it first came out, doesn't exist anymore. And I think kids are growing up with that understanding at this point. So I think I'm just going to do the waterfall trick because he's being a jerk. So I think kids nowadays are growing up with the understanding that stuff isn't preservable, at least the stuff they're growing up with. But I grew up in a time when everyone was saving songs to cassette tapes, and people were moving their floppy disk info to CD, and like it was all about physical media growing up. So for me, preservation's a bit more important. But anyways, the frustration was that Sony didn't even attempt, right? And then there was a bunch of other things that was wrong. Probably the biggest thing that people were mad about was the fact that Sony didn't even contact the developers that were currently developing PS Vita games, because the PS Vita is still the most up-to-date handheld Sony console. It's not even 10 years old, I don't think. So people are still developing games for it, and they did not even tell the developers that they were closing down the store. So the developers literally had to call up Sony and be like, do we just quit development? Like, what do we do? So there was a lot of backlash for Sony announcing that they were closing the store. Well, there was an announcement a couple days ago from Sony saying they are not closing the PS3 store anymore. The PS3 store is staying open because of the backlash. And are you coming, dude? And yeah, and the Vita store too, I believe, is not closing also, which is good. But the announcement was one of the worst things I think I've ever read from a company, like ever. We read it on stream, and holy cow, bro. It made me very, very sad to be a Sony fan. I think at this point, it's safe to say that I'm not even a Sony fan anymore, and I'm basically just a fan of the physical Sony console and not actual Sony. Because holy cow, the lack of understanding of video game culture from Sony at this point is just, I don't even know how they're successful. Like, at this point, I actually think that any good decision they've made about video games in general has been a fluke, like on accident. Like they just whoops, we accidentally made a good decision. But truly, it's appalling to me, the company as a whole. So that was kind of saddening. But hey, the stores aren't closing, so I guess we have that. But holy cow, I mean, it is just so bad. I think I still have it. Hold on, let me see. I think I still have it here. Yeah, here it is. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it's from Jim Ryan, the CEO. And they say clearly it was the wrong decision, which is good. I can't even read this. It makes me so mad. We see now that many of you are incredibly passionate about being able to continue purchasing classic games on PS3 and PS Vita for the foreseeable future. That sentence right there just blows my mind. That just actually, like, just... I can't believe that they would say that. And I know it doesn't sound that bad, but good lord. Like, how detached can you possibly be from video game culture to be like, wait a second. After being in this industry for how long? 20 years? More than that. 30 years? 40, 35 years? They've been in the video game industry for 35 years, and they're now like, wait a second, you guys like retro games? Like, it is now apparent to us that you guys like retro games. Let's not talk about the fact that we released a PlayStation Classic to take advantage of all of you that like retro games and put zero effort into it and was just total garbage, but we threw a bunch of classic games on there because we knew we could take advantage of your nostalgia and steal your money. But now it's apparent to us that you guys like retro games. It wasn't apparent to us back then when we were stealing your money, but it's apparent to us now because you sent us some emails. Just get out of here, Sony. Like, there's no saving you at this point. If it really took you this long. But it didn't take them this long. It's just, that's where the money is. The money is in new games. They are very aware that we like old games, but the money is in new games, so they pretend like we don't like old games. Until we get mad, and then they're like, oh, you do? It's basically the same thing as like EA when they put the advertisements in the MMA game for the third time. And like the first time they put advertisements in the MMA game, there was like a huge backlash, and they were like, sorry guys, we thought it would be good because like in actual MMA fights there's ads, but we can tell that you guys hate it, so we took it out. And then the second game they did it again, and then people called it out. And EA was like, oh man, we're sorry. We thought you liked this. We thought it was going to be cool because MMA fights have ads, are bad. And then the third time, like, EA, we still don't like this. And they're like, oh man, we had no idea. We thought you guys would like this. Because that's the way it works. If you put the ads in there, you'll make the money off of them, and then you can just remove them. And just play stupid. And that's what Sony's doing. They're playing stupid. They're like, wait, you like retro games? That's crazy, man. We had no idea. That's wild. You know, we put Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted 3. Sorry, Uncharted 4. We put Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted 4 and it made like headlines, but man, you guys like old games? That's wild. We never would have guessed. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jim Ryan's the same guy that said, like, legitimately, I didn't know people liked old games, right? Had that quote that was like, who plays old games? So yeah. That's what we're working with here. And it's just sad. It's sad to me because, like I've said many times, I grew up as a Sony fan specifically because they understood video game culture. I remember back in the Xbox versus PlayStation days, that was one of my biggest arguments with my friends when they were like, Xbox is better, and I'd be like, Sony gets gamers. Like, Microsoft's just in this for the money. But Sony, like, understands video game culture. They make sure all their consoles are backwards compatible. This was back when the PS3 was coming out, and it was backwards compatible with PS1 and PS2 games. I was like, look, guys, they get it. Like, they understand how video gaming works. Like, they understand the culture. They bring back old IPs. They do stuff for us, the gamers. Like, they're not just in it for the money like Microsoft. And I remember that being, like, one of my biggest arguments. And now, it's the other way around. Yeah, now, like, Xbox consoles are super backwards compatible. They're always bringing back old stuff like Halo and stuff. They're always doing events for old games, and they actually like support their esports leagues and stuff. And Sony's out here like, wait, you play games that aren't Fortnite? You play games that aren't the latest Call of Duty? Like, that's wild. We had no idea. It just sucks. It sucks that it's such a flip now. Yeah. I wouldn't say they were ever my heroes, but they were definitely my preferred company, and I could say I was, like, a fan of Sony, you know what I mean? Like, I was actually a fan of the company. Nowadays, I can't say that. I'm not a fan of the company. I'm a fan of the consoles they make. I'm not a fan of the company. So... wow, this ninja is just legitimately impossible to hit. Did he do, like, a spell to make himself faster? Because normally I hit him eventually, jeez. Oh yeah, it makes total sense that they don't want us to be happy with what we have. For sure. Yeah, well, I think dying a hero or living long enough to become the villain is the perfect analogy for Nintendo. And maybe Sony now, but Nintendo definitely. Holy cow. I don't think I've ever seen... I don't think I've ever seen hatred for a company like the hatred for Nintendo right now. Sony, we're more of just disappointed in. Because, like, they made the right call. They didn't close the store. We're just disappointed with them, right? But, like, Nintendo is, holy cow, it's a dumpster fire over there right now. Escobar, thank you so much for the 3 months. And, sir, thank you for the $50 donation. Holy cow. Foam in the chat for Sir. Give him some love. Thank you. It's funny how the Sony Xbox tables have now turned. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Microsoft still has its problems, but they're not problems that we didn't know existed already. Sony has this new side to them that's frustrating. I feel like I want them to go back to the way they were, whereas Microsoft is the same they've always been, so it's understood at this point. It's like, yeah, that's Microsoft. Oh my god, if you haven't seen the stuff going on with Nintendo, it is bad, dude. It's really bad. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, it started with the whole, let's remaster Mario, but then make it only available for 3 months, even digitally. Which people are already like, why? Like, that is legitimately just money grubbing at that point. There's absolutely no reason to do that other than just to make money. Like, out of all things that I've ever seen a company do, you know, even this PS3 store thing, sure, we could talk about, like, Sony being greedy, but at the end of the day, it would save them a lot of money to close down the PS3 store. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, that would be a good business decision on their side in terms of the money, right? Like, no one's arguing that. But, like, the Mario thing was just straight up, they wanted money. Like, they don't care about anyone. Like, they just wanted everyone to rush out and buy it. That was the only reason to do that. And they were pretty obvious with that. But the big thing with Nintendo right now is they're screwing over, like, all of their fan bases. Like, they've screwed over the Smash community and pretty much all of the esports communities to do with Nintendo. They're, like, constantly screwing them over. And, like, the thing that's frustrating people about it is that they're screwing people over, like, they're going out of their way. That's the thing. Like, it's not saving them money. They're just going out of their way to screw over different fan bases. So people are really frustrated about that. They're also doing way more cease and desisting than they have ever done before. There was the story with them cease and desisting the Switch controllers that were, like, made for charity. So people are, like, mad about that. But, man, the list goes on. Like, they just have been doing so much bad. Like, they are just really going down the hole in terms of their public look, you know. People are not happy. People are not happy with them at all. And being someone that's not a huge Nintendo fan, but just kind of watching from the outskirts, Nintendo has really not done much in the last, like, 2 years. Like, they're just really quiet. I've heard several Nintendo fans say, like, these last few years have kind of just been nothing. They had the Mario remaster, they had the new Pokemon games, they had Smash, they have a new Switch version potentially coming out soon. And they had I almost said Harvest Moon. Animal Crossing. But, like,
Power Surge.
Man, that it's just been pretty quiet with Nintendo. Sony and Microsoft have been out here like selling their new consoles. But yeah, it's just been kind of a quiet couple years from Nintendo. They're not banging it out like they usually do. They keep talking about the new Legend of Zelda potentially, Breath of the Wild 2, but like we haven't seen anything with that. Metroid Prime is static. Mario Odyssey is the last Mario we've had, which was when the Switch came out, which was how many years ago? A lot of years ago. So yeah, it's just I think it's the mixture of those two things. If Nintendo was quiet for a couple of years, then like, okay, that's fine. And if Nintendo was going after communities that enjoy their games constantly, yeah, that sucks, but like we can forgive them. But the fact that it's both, and like that's all they've done for the past couple of years, is just go after their own fans and not really do much in terms of their own console, is kind of a big yikes, and a lot of Nintendo fans aren't happy. I'm not a big Nintendo fan, so it's hard for me to like say for certain this is what they're doing wrong, this is what they need to do, or you know, say how mad I am about it. But at least what I get from the Nintendo fans I've talked to is that it's not good. People are not happy. Yeah, they released Bowser's Fury, Bravely Default 2. Like, there have been good games, don't get me wrong, but, you know, it's been too many years without a big banger, new Mario, 3D Mario, new 3D Metroid, new Zelda, like, all those big things they normally do every year or every 2 years. A new console, a new version of their console, like, they're always doing something like that, and there hasn't been much. I mean, if you just look at some other years of, like, the stuff that Nintendo did versus what they're doing now. Alright, oh god, I forgot this boss is like... What is this guy... Oh, yeah, shoot. This boss, like, turns us all into frogs, doesn't she? But then she attacks us and we turn back, I think. Alright, let's just give it a try. I don't know why, but you have to like run into it twice to activate the boss. The only thing I could think of to do against this boss that would like be a counter would be to turn everyone into dancers and give them ribbons, but then how do I damage the boss if we're all dancers? I guess I do have some like cool dancer equipment I could try. So let's just all defend. Frog crew! Defend! And then she should turn us all back at some point. Oh, I should have put on drink. I know, the defend thing is so funny. Have at you! Also, thank you for the raid, Knock. Appreciate it. Is she gonna turn us back? Do we have to attack her, maybe? We might have to attack her to get her to turn us back. Okay. Can we not do that? There we go. Oh, man, she is just really annoying. Feels like the most annoying things you can imagine, like switching your row, turning you into frogs. Come on, Krill. Get a crit. You. How do you pronounce that name? Haley Canos. Haley Cans. Focus power. Wow. Thanks for that. Holy canoe. It's French. Holy cannoli. Oh, I didn't mean to move Reyna. Shell? Your shell can't protect against my ninja. Holy Cheerios. Dude, why did she just get a 9,999 damage attack? How is that fair? No! I actually don't like this because now Krill is going to be like a frog while everyone else is normal. I can revive her and she'll be able to do damage, but once it flips again, we're going to be in trouble. Oh, we got the crit. Also, I can't heal, which is bad. Yes! Frog Crew! Thank God, that boss is terrible. Not my favorite. Now here's the question. Do we finally get a save point? Oh, look at my cute self chilling in the chair. How many bosses have we fought now? Like 5? Still don't have a checkpoint? Or a save point? And I have to go back past Omega if I want to save? Dude, it's one thing to have, like, Omega in the final dungeon for you to accidentally run into and get killed by. It's another thing to make me walk past him every time I want to save. Like, this dungeon is brutal. Oh, no. That's right. I forgot about this guy. Shoot. Oh, boy. Excellent. That is excellent. Dude, what is this dungeon? This is like... This is becoming worse than the Final Fantasy III dungeon. I wonder if that's a counter. It might be a counter. But still, Lord. There's your save point. Can you go down, please? Dude, this guy be trolling. I can't get him to go down unless I go up the waterfall, and then he usually goes down. What if I go down here? Will he, like... Sure. Whatever. How's it going, Bim? Yeah, I think that's a little too, like... I think we were talking about that the other day. Which Final Fantasy has the best gameplay? I think it's a little too subjective. I've told people before that Final Fantasy X, in my opinion, has the best turn-based. Just the way it's built is, like, so perfect. You get to fully utilize every character, you get to see exactly what's coming, so you can, like, tactically decide what you want to do. I think it's perfect for turn-based. But most of these games are actually ATB, and I think they're all unique enough to where I couldn't really pick a best ATB system. I think it's just up to which game you like more. They're all similar enough, but have their unique parts to it, you know. But see, that's just battle mechanics. Like, I guess it depends on what you mean by gameplay. Is that like everything? Everything that isn't story? Or is it battle mechanics, or what, you know? Does that include the class system, or... If you're including the class system, then I'd have to say that this one is probably the best in terms of pre-6. I think they finally nailed what they wanted to do with the class system in this game. But then it's hard to pick, because, like, I've heard 6 is incredible. We'll see when we get to it. 7 has the materia system, which a lot of people say is the best system ever. 8 has junctioning, which a lot of people hate, but some people love. 9 has the weapon ability system, which I personally think is amazing, but, you know, has its fans and has its detractors. 10 has the best turn-based system of the series, in my opinion, but it's turn-based, not ATB, and a lot of people like ATB better. And a lot of people like the sphere grid, some people hate the sphere grid, so that's another thing. So they're all very subjective. Then you get into, like, 12, which was, like, super unique. And then I think most people agree that, like, post-12 isn't the best. Like, 13's gameplay is fun, but I don't think it's up to the standard of pre-12. Yeah, I love Gambits. Like, I love 12. Everything about 12, but it's definitely subjective. Some people hate Gambits and hate the license board and hate 12 in general. And hate how everyone stands around and waits for their bar. And then there's Lightning Returns, where gameplay mechanics go to die. Is there a secret back here? Yeah, Zodiac Age helps a lot. Zodiac Age is a much better way to play 12. We're going to be playing the original for Fantathon, so it's going to be a little bit yikes. Luckily, I have not played a lot of Zodiac Age. I've only played a couple hours. If I played the entirety of Zodiac Age and then went back to the original, it would feel terrible. It would be such a slog. The license board would be so terrible. I'd probably hate it so much. Okay. I think you could, yeah, but I don't want to waste all the items. She doesn't have that much health, so... I think you could probably use Money Toss, too, and really, like, obliterate. Come here, I'll treat you right. I agree, there's probably a good chance that more people played Zodiac Age than the original. Because... it's just... I think when 12 came out, it was a bad time, and now people are wanting to go back and experience the Final Fantasies they missed out on, and 12 is... or Zodiac Age is just a really nice way to do it. Yo, Brebo, how you doing? Look at the frogs hop. Hop into place. Stop it. God, this boss is annoying. Talk about Craig bosses. Like, not even that difficult, just annoying. Just has... Change your placements, and then an auto-kill move. And then frogs. Oh no, Krill stayed a frog. It's like a precursor to the Unalesca battle. That's a funny comparison. I won't say too much because I haven't played 10 yet, but yeah, I kind of agree. I'm still shocked at how many things we've seen in these first 5 games, especially this one, that is like specifically referenced in 7. The thousands and thousands of hours I've poured into 7, a lot of the stuff like I never knew was a reference to another game because I just hadn't played it. So it's cool. It's cool that playing these old games actually improves my experience with 7. Well, she's being nice at the moment. Would you recommend playing 9 or 12 first? That is a hard comparison, I'll be honest, because they're very different. You'd have to tell me which Final Fantasies you like, or which RPGs you like, and then I could tell you. I feel like 9 is the obvious answer, but if you're not into, like, older RPGs, because 9 is a lot more focused on, like... They tried to kind of return to old style with 9. It's still modernized, but it's a return back to, like, retro Final Fantasy in a way. Especially with the look of it. Wow, this went horrible. This could not have been worse. But I will say that 9 is, like, one of the best in the whole series, and 12 is one of the most divisive in the whole series. So, the obvious answer is 9. If you're into characters, like, if you play RPGs for good characters, I can't recommend 9 enough. Because 9 has some of the best characters in the whole series. Wow, she's already dead? I didn't even get a crit with Krill. That's kind of wild. I mean, Vivi, Freya, and Beatrix are all in 9. That you can't beat that, dude. Those are like 3 of the most beloved characters in the whole series. Especially Vivi. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all good, but in terms of, like, the ones that I hear about, the ones that are referenced in other Final Fantasies, like, Vivi is probably the most referenced character in the whole series, like, minus maybe Cloud and Sephiroth. Vivi is in, like, everything. Vivi was so good that, like, every black mage is now just Vivi. So... where is my... there it is. It hurts me that you said that? Said what? I'm not saying my own opinion, I'm saying the general opinion. Because he asked for him. Every black mage is Vivi. It kind of, like, for a while when I was growing up, whenever I saw, like, that hood without the face, I always thought Vivi. And people, I remember people would say, like, oh, is Vivi in this game? And they're like, oh no, it's just a black mage. Like, when we went to look at, like, the retro Final Fantasies after playing 9, we were like, Vivi's in every game? Like, nope, those are just black mages. That's just how, like, influential Vivi was. Because Vivi has one of the, like, coolest stories of any character in all the games. It's very personal. Holy cow, Darth! Is that a Final Fantasy V gift? Nice. With the $100 donation. Another drop for Mass Effect Legendary Edition, because it's going to be a trilogy. Oh, so there's going to be 3 Platinums. That's epic, dude. Yeah, I think we're doing all 3 Platinums for Darth, because he's really excited for that Mass Effect trilogy. And I've never played Mass Effect, so I'm going to get, like, the remastered version as my first playthrough, which is going to be cool. Yeah, I've heard so many good things about Mass Effect. No, I've never played Mass Effect. I was playing other first-person story-driven games at the time. I want to say I was playing BioShock at the time, but I don't remember off the top of my head if that was the same time period. I'm sure it's close, but I don't know if BioShock came out at the same time Mass Effect did. It might have been that I just got my hands on it at the time. Yo, Kozan, thank you for the 5 months. What more could you ask for? Work is over, Fantathon time is now. I'm really excited. My wife's birthday is next week, but I'm celebrating her birthday this weekend. And I got a surprise for her. The kids are at Grandma's house, and she's just gonna have like the night off to like sleep in because she hasn't slept in like years. Alright, hold on. Gotta get past Omega. Okay. Thank God. Alright, we don't have to fight the frog boss anymore. And then on Saturday, we're doing a gamer day. Yeah, she hasn't slept in years. We're gonna do a gamer day like back when we were in college and just order a pizza and like sit around and play video games all day. Like we don't have chores. It's gonna be fun. We haven't had a day like that since frickin' 2014. Oh no, trust me, that's... it's definitely her birthday. That's exactly what she wanted. Also, Mega Goon. I did save, right? I hope I saved. I was in the middle of talking. I know I used the cottage. I hope I saved. I like how if I just sit here and try to escape... I didn't save? Or did I? Don't do this to me. If I sit here and just try to escape, he like never attacks. I found a glitch in the system. I'm done. Dude, Omega is insane. I don't know how we're gonna beat him. The fact that he rainbow wins, like, in the middle of his attacks is pretty nuts. It is not possible to run away. If the giant "you can't run away" at the top of the screen didn't clue you in. It is crazy that you can't run away from him either. Like, what a giant Craig. It's enough that he auto kills you. Yeah, my wife's been like addicted to The Sims lately, and that's like all she wants to do is play The Sims. But she never gets to because kids and chores and whatnot. So I was like, we're just gonna have a gamer day where we sit and play games. And I'm gonna do my chores and her chores, and then join her in the gamer day. And I'll probably go grab the pizza too if I don't get it delivered. I mean, it took me a while to realize I was supposed to run past Omega, because it definitely feels like the game's telling you don't go this way. That's the thing. Like, the way he moves makes it feel like you're not supposed to go past. Yo, Rhapsode, the tier 2. Or no, Shotgun with the 32, and at the same exact time, Rhapsode with the tier 2-5. Thank you guys. You subbed at the exact same time. Month 5 in Final Fantasy 5. Another full month with this awesome community. Thank you, Rhapsode. Final Fantasy X-2 is a great game, but ruins the story. So if you really like the story, you might want to close your ears for the entirety of X2. It also has a lot of flaws, like I don't know, the way you get from point A to point B in that game is really frustrating. But the actual gameplay, the actual battle mechanics are really good. So, yeah. And also the music is really good in that game. So, the story is garbage. Sorry, I can't extend you that rope. Normally I'd be like, that's your opinion. I can't extend you that rope. X2's story is total garbage and I hate it. Like, X2 story is so bad, I can't believe it exists. Witchy, thank you for the 8 months. Welcome back on the train. Yeah, I don't know. I can't get on that. I can't get on that debate, sorry. I can debate about a lot of things. I can't debate about X2 story being good. Pain is a okay character, because she's the only one that isn't completely ruined. They took a bunch of old characters with old stories that made sense and ruined them all. The only reason Pain is okay is because she's a new character, so they couldn't ruin her. Every character that returns from 10 is completely ruined. They might as well have just made all the characters new, then it would have been a lot better. It should have just been 3 new girls in the Final Fantasy X universe, or Final Fantasy X world. That would have been fine. But the fact that it's Yuna and Riku just completely ruins everything. It makes you wonder what you're playing the entire time. Yeah, and I don't even think Pain is good, but I could at least understand the argument. I could understand the argument that Pain's good. If you like that type of character and she clicks with you, like, I get it. But I don't think there's any denying that they took 2 characters that already existed and just completely rewrote their stories and personalities, which is just nonsense. Like, you can't make Final Fantasy VII 2 and make Cloud a hippie. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, it's just not... And that's like... That was the big frustration with a lot of people with Advent Children, is that Cloud's character is a bit off in Advent Children. But take that and multiply it by 20 and you get X2. Death, he's already a hippie. He saves the planet. Shut up. Man, I don't know what game you played, dude. That's wild. That's an opinion right there. I respect your opinion, though. But man, we must have played different games. Like, Cloud in Advent Children is still Cloud. He's just way too depressed when he shouldn't be, because the end of 7 makes it seem like they've moved on, and that's like the whole point, is that he's moved on from Aerith's death. But instead he's like depressed again for no reason. And I've looked into it many, many times, and there's no explanation. Like, everything I've looked into, from the Omega to like the Japanese version of the Omega translated, like, everything I can read just pretty much says, like, he got sad about Aerith again after a whole quest to stop being sad about Aerith. Whereas, literally, Final Fantasy X-2 took the nice summoner girl who does everything right and changes her story over time and has one of the most amazing story arcs of all time, and gave her guns. And said, bang bang, shoot stuff. Guns are fun. Alright, let's see here. Not the assassin dagger, please. Anything but that. In the original, she dies and then he goes snowboarding. You're not wrong. That is not an incorrect statement. Yeah, you can tell that Advent Children undid the progression because they needed a story to tell. That's kind of the bad part. Like, you can just tell that they were kind of grasping at straws for, like, a story, and that's why they're like, oh, he's sad again. Because it's like, what else are we gonna do? Oh my god, this guy just spams magic. It's insane. Like, holy cow. If I could just get... Did he just... Okay. He can paralyze the whole party. That's neat. It is Sephiroth. I don't want to attack because I think he has a... counter. I think the double tidal wave is a counter. So I'm waiting until everyone's shelled. Giga Flare boosts power. Oh no. Good lord. What is this boss? He's insane. Like, I don't even know what to do. He just spams and spams and spams and spams. I get no chance. Yeah, I don't know. I understand that, like, the Yuna party girl thing makes sense, technically, but I just never bought into it. It always felt like they just wanted to put the girls in skimpy outfits, so they were like, well, now she's a party girl. They don't do enough to, like, explain it. There's, like, the whole, like, singer that she represents and stuff, but they don't do enough to, like, sell us on it. It's just like, she's party girl now with guns, deal with it. And then the story is so all over the place that you don't even get a chance to, like, understand it by the time, you know. Even if it could make sense, they don't tell it well enough to make sense. Also, this is fun. I call this wait until I get Giga Flared and then die strat. It's pretty fun. Okay, you can reflect Mind Blast. That's right. And okay, okay. Now he has Mega Flare apparently. Not just Giga Flare, but Mega Flare as well. Neat. So is this just gonna be like cast Reflect, win game? Because that's the only way I can survive anything he does. Is this the real Bahamut? But like I said before, there is a lot that I like about X2, believe it or not. Yuna is legitimately my favorite character of all time, and X2 ruins Yuna. So you'd think I would just hate the game forever and ever, but to be completely honest, there's a lot that I like about it. The music is incredible in the game, the gameplay is really, really fun. So like, there's enough to where I can't call it a bad game, really. But the only thing that I would say that I really dislike about X2 that's not the story, because I don't think a story automatically makes the game bad, is like the progression is really bad in X2, just awful. Like I remember accidentally reaching the final boss at like level 20 one time. I've heard it's happened to multiple people, where like if you choose the wrong stuff on accident, you can just like end up at the end of the game way earlier than you're supposed to. Like it's just really wild. It's not. It's a hard game to play correctly, as weird as that sounds. It's strange.